This episode is brought to you by Indeed. Stop waiting around for the perfect candidate. Instead, use Indeed sponsored jobs to find the right people with the right skills fast. It's a simple way to make sure your listing is the first candidates see. According to Indeed data, sponsored jobs have 4 times more applicants than non-sponsored jobs. So go build your dream team today with Indeed. Get a $75 sponsored job credit at Indeed.com/podcast. Terms and conditions apply.
Protein is now at Starbucks, and it's never tasted so good. You can add protein cold foam to your favorite drink or try one of our new protein lattes or matcha. Try it today at Starbucks.
Nothing brings people together quite like Team USA at the Olympic Winter Games. From NBC Universal's iconic storytelling to the innovative technology across Xfinity and Peacock, Comcast brings the Olympic Games home to America, sharing every moment with millions. When Team USA steps onto the world stage, people aren't just watching, they're cheering together. This winter, everyone is all on the same team. Comcast, proud partner of Team USA.
This is the Overthrow, powered by Spond and brought to you by the Premier League Cricket Club.
So welcome everybody to the Overthrow, powered once again by our friends at Spond. And it's that time that we've got to talk to Spond. You know, we've brought this new partner on board to the Premier League Cricket Club, and we haven't actually spoke to them yet directly on our podcast, so it's time to do that. So joining me today to talk all things Spond is Will Hulbert from Spond UK. And I say UK very specifically because Will's bound to tell us it's actually not a UK Company overall, is it, Will? Welcome, mate.
Thank you for having me. Yeah, it's great to be on. And yeah, you are spot on. It's not actually originally a UK company. We're originally from Norway, and the company was founded about 11 years ago, actually. And it's a quite an interesting one. They have a really, really cool setup over in Norway when it comes to their sport and participation. And we actually have about 25% of the population over in Norway using Spond now, which when you take out kids and older people is actually quite a hell of a lot of people.
That's mad. 25%.
Yeah, it's ridiculous. And the way Scandinavia as a whole they have a pretty incredible approach to youth sport and activity in general, which is actually quite a hell of a lot different to the UK. So when they came over to launch the UK market, obviously there's certain things that are slightly different over here. But I mean, over there, they essentially have like a national philosophy of the joy of sport for all. So their big focus is fun, just kids taking part, having fun, playing as many different sports as possible. There's actually nothing competitive under the age of 13. So you don't really take track of scores. This is across all sports as well. Everyone sort of gets a trophy. They kind of restrict travel as much as possible, so they try and play within their regions and stuff. I think it's provinces over there, and they have a real culture of participation and they make it really affordable as well. Obviously, they're quite a wealthy country, but right the way up to when they get to the older ages, it's really easy to get access to all them sports. Obviously, when they founded Spond, there was a real understanding for how difficult it actually is to organise for volunteers across all sports. So, I mean, we basically just tried to create an agnostic sports management tool that simply helps volunteers, makes their lives as easier as possible when it comes to training, match days, events, whether it's organisation or messaging within the platform. And yeah, that's where it all started, really, just over in Norway 11 years ago, and just trying to help volunteers sort of with their members, just streamline the position as much as possible.
It's the one thing that Norway clearly has in common, no matter what the wealth of the country is that most sports and most sports clubs are run by volunteers.
Yes,
and as a consequence, the most valuable thing that you've got when it comes to your club is the time of the volunteers. There's no two ways about that. And yeah, you're right. That's what Spond does. It helps with that time management, time allocation, for the want of a better word. But let's be blunt about it. You're in a crowded market. There's a hell of a lot of other ones out there. Now, I'm the first to say my club runs Spond, and that's not why we're working with you guys, but my club runs Spond. We're a Division 3 club. We've been through 2 or 3 other competitors till we got to Spond, and I think we're in our 4th year now, and we've not moved from it, so that's a good sign in the first place. What do you think it is that makes that your Spond stands out amongst those competitors straight away?
I would actually say, obviously, and our competitors do a great job as well. As you say, it's a really busy area to be in, and some of them are really sport specific, which is great, and you can't knock what they do. I think what makes Spond unique is just being such an agnostic tool that we can cover so many sports. So if there is a platform out there that are football maybe specific or cricket specific, we can go and try and go out another market and sort of bring them all together into one place. You can be a cricket club, a football club, a rugby club, or you can just simply be a knitting club with 10 people in. We just make everything as streamlined as possible, whether it be safeguarding if you have a junior section, whether it be messaging, so you bring in WhatsApp into Spond, whether it be your Facebook group, instead of posting on there, you can bring that into Spond. We just sort of streamline it as best as possible, and I think listening to the members, listening to your Spond members has probably been the best thing that we've done. It's actually sort of given us the platform to push on and sort of be better than competitors and sort of set the tone, really.
Absolutely. I think one of the things from my experience that I really enjoy about Spond is the simplicity. It really was simple to get set up in the first place, and B, it's no frills. And I like the fact that the platform, whether it be online or whether it be on the app, it's got a bit about it, but it's not sort of how can I put it? It's not got whistles and bells that you don't need. And that's what we found from other platforms. There were too many whistles and bells that you were never going to use. And in some cases you're going to pay for, whereas what we get from Spond, and we started with availability. It's the biggest problem every cricket club has in the country. Availability with their juniors all the way through to the seniors week in, week out. And it's a great, easy way to start, and it's free that way, isn't it? Yeah,
of course, yeah. And like you say, the good thing for us is hearing people say, and we get it all the time, of how easy it is to get set up. As I said, obviously there's only 4 or 5 of us actually in the UK team. So when we are on a 360 role, you really are day to day sort of helping clubs get set up where need be. And that's something I do, work quite closely with a number of clubs, obviously really cricket heavy at the moment, just making sure they've got everything they need to do that. And then, as you say, obviously everything about Spond is free. Obviously they have the transaction fee. But apart from that, downloading it, bringing on your members, there's no hidden costs. When we do demos and onboarding sessions, it's exactly the same. All questions will be answered, and it's a free app to use, which is obviously quite a powerful thing to have.
And in terms of the split that you've got around sports right now, you've been in the UK a number of years. I know that at my club, a lot of the parents were really happy to use Spond because they already used it at football or rugby. Yeah, what's the sort of split around the sports for you guys right now?
So football is our number one sport. And then, as you can imagine, really based on seasonally, it's cricket and rugby that sort of go toe for toe for second. Obviously, at the moment, it is pretty much cricket because all the clubs are becoming active. When you get to sort of September time, as you can imagine, the rugby really does take over. But it's a really interesting split. Obviously, we've got sports like pickleball that are flying through the rankings of how many people use it. It's a ever-growing sport. But I mean, like across the UK, we have just over between 1.7 and 2 million users. And within that, we have about 7,000 teams that are cricket teams, essentially. Now, the way we interpret teams is quite an interesting one, because we will bring together recreational and competitive cricket. So obviously your team in level 3 would be seen as competitive, but we're seeing quite a rise at the moment in recreational cricket, like quick cricket, where, football, you can go and put a pair of jumpers down and you've got a football game going. We're actually seeing quite a rise on people that are being able to do that. With cricket, which is exactly what we've been speaking about recently, is really interesting, because not something you'd always associate with cricket would being able to just go and set it up and play.
And is that effectively what you're doing there? I think, use your phrase, that's taking people off WhatsApp. Exactly. Instead of all getting a WhatsApp group and who's available, who's not available, it's basically putting it onto Spond.
Yeah, of course. And we have obviously the full messaging, so you can have individual or you can message your whole group. And like you said, if you're even part of a cricket club and you want to make a recreational group where you're going to go and play in the winter and you're doing indoors, or you're just playing outdoors quite casually, like, it just allows you to do that. And so we actually found quite interesting, to be honest, that it was becoming a bit of it's slowly growing where it's not as competitive. People are playing it for fun, which hopefully means that you're obviously attracting new players as a sport, because we've obviously seen we get about an 18% increase year on year in cricket users, and a 30% increase in junior cricket.
Wow.
So obviously within that recreational game as well, it probably means that school, like kids from taking it out of school, because I know it's been quite heavy. They've had quite a push in state schools at the moment, because obviously you would sort of initially associate cricket with being in independent schools mainly, but it's obviously great for the sport to see that moving into the state schools and into their own time, because obviously even within the grassroots game, which we have a massive oversight on, which is great to see the numbers and how it grows. Essentially, these kids are going to end up playing in the Premier League, hopefully one day, and like even higher if they can. So it's great to see that now, because it's only going to affect it in the years to come.
And I think that's the beauty of it, isn't it? That you can have a player who's playing at state school right now, comes to play his little Div 7, Div 5 club, or whatever. By the time he gets to Premier League, by the time he gets to NCCA, he gets to all the way through. But actually, a bit like on Play Cricket, he's got his Spond card as well. So it's almost interconnected to a certain extent, then, isn't it? That he can, the whole history of what he's done's on there, as well as what's on Play Cricket.
Yeah, of course, 100%. And I suppose for us, it's quite the Play Cricket side of things is actually really interesting as well, because where Play Cricket sort of has your stats, your leagues, your players, their individual stats, the fixtures and results, we sort of tend to try and stay away from that statistical side of things, and sort of bring it into the organisational side of things. But we do have the integration with Play Cricket when we've sort of worked with the ECB, and sort of bringing in the calendars for the fixtures. That can link straight into a Spond platform, which is obviously great for clubs and quite a helpful tool. And we see so many more events being created now over the last few weeks since that all came out. But yeah, it's a really interesting one, the link with Play Cricket and how they use it really well for that. And sort of we kind of link in nicely as a good path to do that.
And that without a shadow in the last couple of years has been for me the single most improvement in Spond as well. That link to Play Cricket and the fact that all of those matches can be downloaded into the calendar, the season planner, as you guys call it. It can be downloaded into there without having to type everything up as I used to have to do, or download an Excel spreadsheet and mess about with it.
Yeah, 100%. And it's we get so much positive feedback on it, and it saves so much time. We run surveys as much as possible, and we see that we save volunteers over 3 hours a week across sports. And I suppose that is just a massive one for cricket. If the volunteers, the person that has to go through and manually input that, it must be a really draining task. So obviously when you can go on to Spond and just sort of integrate it yourself, it makes life a hell of a lot easier.
And I'm the first to say I'm responsible for Spond at our club. I don't know if it's a good thing or bad thing, but I am responsible for it. And yeah, it might take a little bit of time to set up in the first place. But I think one of the nice things is you could do it one of two ways in terms of when it comes to members, you can either set your members up yourself and send them a link, or actually just send them the link and they sign up that way, and do it both ways around, can't they?
Yeah, of course. Yeah. And that's another thing that we try and make that process as streamlined as possible. As you say, getting all the information into your setup is probably the slowest part. And then after that, you are absolutely away. Obviously, we've seen a really drastic increase in women's and girls cricket participation, and obviously a lot of clubs are now bringing them into their club, and it's growing as quite a rate, to be totally honest. And importing them members into an existing Spond platform is just as easy as ever now. If you can create within your club the girls group, and add all the members, either sending them a code or you want to import them manually, then that is as easy as you want to make it.
Yeah, and once you've got them in, I'm the first to, again, I'll tell you the way our clubs work. Once I'm set up, once a year, I go through and do a bit of a tidy up, because you've got to do a bit of admin to keep on top of it. More importantly, when it comes to juniors, 13s become 15s, 15s become 17s, where do that. But once that's done, that's basically it. You just carry on as normal, don't you?
Yeah, no, 100%. And it is something that we as I said, we're always trying to gain feedback from members, and I think that's one of the things where people are always quite positive about it. Actually, is it means they can go and be a little bit picky elsewhere instead of having to worry about how they import their members, because it's such an easy process.
Yeah, and one of the things I've really enjoyed in the last couple of years as well with availability. We all know that availability at every club, doesn't matter what age group, is the biggest single issue, probably the biggest issue at senior level, to be frank. But being able to put that message out and automatically have a reminder go out to say, are you available? Are you available? It's far better than any WhatsApp that you're going to have to keep remembering to do all the time.
Yeah, exactly, and that's when we refer to the streamlined process. That's just one of the such a easy way to, as an easy win as such for a club, is having to. We're so aware that clubs might have to take payments in a certain capacity, send emails out in one way, messages in another, and then post on a different platform. And we know that there's so much tech available that we have quite literally built this as a tech company from the bottom up with the end user in mind. And the messaging process is one of the most important aspects of it, where if you can have availability, and if someone is unavailable and you want to ask them why, then that's such an easy way of doing it. But as I say, every single area of the platform was built with the users in mind, and what makes life easier for them instead of what will make life easier for us.
Absolutely. You talk about payments, and I'm going to tell the story of our club to make it easy for everyone. So we were with a competitor management app's the best way to describe it. And as always, and I'm going to be blunt about it, the seniors didn't want to move, because the seniors are the ones, oh no, we don't want to change this, we don't want to change that. So I said, dead simple, we're going to move the juniors then, because I'm the junior manager, so I can do what I want. So we moved the juniors, because all the parents enjoyed Spond from elsewhere. We moved them onto that, and by the end of that first season, the junior parents were going, happy days. One or two seniors then started, shall we have a look at this? And we got the seniors onto availability the following year. And third year on, we then said to seniors, right, we're a cashless club. Everything is done by card. So what we're now going to do is we're going to put payments through there. So match fee payments go through, membership payments go through. And it's as easy as literally the link goes to the player and they're just going to pay through their phone effectively, aren't they? That's what makes it all more sort of modern and simple, rather than collecting that bit of cash here and that bit of cash there and you can send a chaser. That side of it just clears things up for clubs, doesn't it?
Yeah, 100%. And it's quite interesting that you say that as well, because I don't know if you guys are aware, but obviously cricket is actually one of 3 team sports that grow every year. Mm-hmm. And not the others don't. And when you're saying there about bringing the juniors in and it being so easy, and like us linking it earlier to what I said about the women and girls game, the amount of people, we're seeing the growth of participation from the ECB stats, but then within our stats, we're also seeing that growth as well. We know over the last 2 or 3 years, for example, women and girls cricket has over doubled, and we've seen a 26% increase in them coming onto the platform. Mm-hmm. Now, you saying how easy it is to move over just sort of shows that we're almost moving with that increase in participation, especially from the juniors across male and female, because it just people are joining the app and they're away straight away. As you say, I think a lot of clubs might struggle sometimes to pull the seniors over if something is working for them, but I suppose you only have to get a bit of positive feedback from the club once or twice before they do use it and inevitably use it well as well.
Yeah, once you get over to that side and you've got the seniors on board as well, and there's a lot of money goes through clubs when it comes to seniors in particular, but juniors, there can be a hell of a lot more with week to week, and we've all got so many bloody juniors around the place. It's just so much more easier to reconcile if it's all in one place. We went last year 3/4 of the way through the season. I did a reconciliation of our entire match day fees, and it took me an hour. That's a whole season in an hour because it's all in one place.
Yeah, of course. And that's what you get with the reporting when you go online, and you can sort of pull every payment request or installment payment you've had and check who has and hasn't paid it. And especially when it comes to just one-off match fees in the app, it's really simple to do, and you get a notification if you haven't paid it, and you can get the full reports. We've had a couple of cricket clubs that took home an extra £20,000 compared to what they had the year before when they weren't using Spond, simply because of the reporting process and then being able to chase them, which is quite an incredible amount for a grassroots cricket club.
It's an incredible amount, and I'm not going to say how much we brought in extra because I can't remember, but I do know that anecdotally, match fees were far easier to collect. There was far less chasing going on by the skippers, and when it came to things like nets payments for the winter, all done, no issue whatsoever. Whereas previously it'd be £3 here, £4 there, check it, bang, away it goes. And I think what we've really enjoyed in particular this year is we've put sort of an annual payment on for nets. So instead of just charging people weekly, we've put one on for the whole of the 10 weeks, giving them a discount for it, and the club gets the cash in early that way rather than having to chase it afterwards.
Yeah, 100%. And it's not even, as you can imagine, it's across all sports as well, and just the convenience of being able to do it just nice and quickly within the app. And like you say, if you can offer your members a discount, because we are fully aware of, money isn't easy right now, and cricket hasn't always been the cheapest sport to play as well. So if we could contribute in that way by being a free app and making life as easy as possible, then obviously that is great for the internets is the perfect example, isn't it? That it's obviously great for us to be able to contribute to that. If it's nice and easy for people to be able to pay, and then they get the notification, they can just do it there and then, and it's, as you say, it's just sorted.
Yeah, and I think it's quite nice when you've got parents who come across who've been using it elsewhere. It's an absolute no-brainer. When you've got seniors who they don't like the move, they don't like to change, but then within a couple of years, it's just the norm for us now. To such an extent that if somebody leaves, they'll say, take us off Spond, because they know that they're on Spond, rather than just take, they come off the WhatsApp group, they remind you to come off Spond. And it becomes almost I'm not saying a generic like Google, but it becomes that within the club then, doesn't it?
Yeah, 100%. And we see that as well. We have a couple of forums that we sort of built ourselves to be able for members to be able to sort of speak to each other and see how they use it and what different ways, because obviously we can show people how to use the app and how to use it well, but members are on it more than we are. So we really want sort of them to engage with each other to understand what works best for them and why they've done something. And you see people asking questions on there every day, and it's really interesting to see the conversations that happen. And it's almost engaging clubs together as a bit of a community instead of just being in their group and that's it.
Yeah. Just tell us about the clubs that you're with then. I mean, in terms of the size, you've got clubs, I'm sure, who've got just 15 members on there because they're this big, all the way to what's the biggest sort of clubs you got on there in terms of number of members?
So it's quite an interesting one. So I mean, cricket is a bit of it's a really tough one to answer, if I'm being honest, because it depends on how active they are to how much we can find them. But I suppose we have, and I'm trying to think within cricket, a big example that we have, because you've hit the nail on the head, is in some of the club sizes will really vary from them recreational examples where there's just 10 mates in a group that are already part of a cricket club, as for example. But we have certain football clubs that have got thousands of members. And that's just, I know that off the top of my head, just purely through looking at the numbers, but I couldn't. There will be cricket clubs with a few 4,000, 5,000, 6,000 members quite comfortably, I would say.
Wow.
Yeah, quite comfortably. Yeah, and that's the difficulty, where some of them might not always be an active member, but they're getting the notifications, so hopefully they are engaging as much as possible.
And in terms of clubs who aren't with you, what's the simplest, easiest way? Obviously, we've got the links on our website, but what's the simplest, easiest way to get started? If I said to you, club from zero, how long is it going to take them to get up and running? How long would it be?
You could do it in a day if you really wanted to. Quite comfortably. We run demos 2 or 3 times a week, which would be myself. If clubs need something one-to-one, then we can do that. I mean, I will run a demo tomorrow. If someone goes off that and they need any help, we can jump on a call, and they quite simply can upload their members, send them a code to add them into the app, and they're away. They can add their members. If they want to integrate it with Play Cricket, then that's, as you've said, that's a pretty simple format to do. And as soon as your members are in there and you've got your events and training sessions, you're away, because you can send a payment request for training that night if you really want to for the first time. So it's you can simply do it as quickly or as slowly as you want to do it. It's totally up to the club's discretion. Now,
we know that cricket clubs are embedded when it comes to WhatsApp. Let's be honest about this. And WhatsApp groups. And, show me a cricket club that hasn't got 82 different WhatsApp groups. Do you find that slowly but surely clubs then are weaning themselves off that because 100%. They know they can keep it all in one place?
100%, and that's the benefit to being an agnostic tool as well, where we can go across all sports. Where obviously you guys know cricket so well, but even across everything, it's I do it. You still have WhatsApps. Everyone does, and soon as they sort of use it and it works once or twice, there's no reason to really go back. The flip side of it is obviously you can use Spond for your quite formal conversations that are about the club, for example, and you can keep the WhatsApp conversations for stuff that's happening outside of the club. But for volunteers and coaches that specifically want to get in touch, and especially when it comes to such one of the biggest parts of sport in general is the safeguarding aspect. If you have your child and they need to be messaged. The guardian's getting all the notifications regardless, so the parent can deal with it all in one place instead of having to worry about if their child is in a WhatsApp group that they aren't 100% sure on. It might be within the club, which is obviously great, but Spond sort of brings that all together and allows the parents and the members to have overlook on everything.
Yeah, most definitely. And I think, again, I'm able to talk from inside out on this one, having used it. Being able to give the controls to the right people within the club makes such a difference. And, being able to, we have a selection committee. They all have access to the senior availability, but they don't have access to the juniors because they don't need to. And you can break it all up very simply like that way, can't you? You can have a first 11 group if you want, and a second 11 group, and a third 11. But actually, generally across most clubs, it's a squad because we know players move from fourth to third to second to first, etc. So it makes life a lot easier that way, doesn't it?
Yeah, 100%. And I suppose, again, that links back to when the app was actually built and when developments are ongoing now. It's always building from the bottom of what cricket clubs need. And, like even when you can make an event and you can set it to an 11-player max, they go onto a waiting list straight away, and if someone drops out, someone else comes in. Obviously, perfect for cricket. But yeah, it's all about sort of building from the bottom, just making sure that what you guys actually need to run a club sufficiently, we're actually giving you the tools to do that instead of sort of trying to make it look fancy, like you say. It's not all ringing and dancing, like it's just singing and dancing. It's actually just straightforward and how volunteers need it to look.
So go on, give me those numbers again. How many people are using Spond at the moment in the UK?
So in the UK, we have 1.7 to 2 million members using Spond. And of that, there are about 7,000 cricket teams.
Wow. So that would, when you say teams, that might be 4 teams within one club, for example.
Potentially, some it will be one. We've dug deep into that, to be honest, and that a lot of them are teams like just general cricket clubs as such. A real good number are recreational cricket for people choosing to play outside of their competitive teams. But some of them might be where you have your first, second, and thirds, for example.
Mm-hmm. Massive numbers, aren't they?
Yeah.
I can imagine the servers at your place go a bit mad. So every week, there's certain days, isn't there, where that availability button's gone out to everybody, and you're trying to you can just see the amount of messages that are going through. Yeah,
exactly. And I tend to leave that to the guys over in Oslo. But yeah, no, it's a hell of a busy time, and you can see how many events are actually being created, which is really quite interesting. And you can break it down to sports as well. And as you can imagine, at the moment, literally cricket is really starting to pick up, which is obviously great for us. And hopefully
next 4 weeks. Next 4 weeks will be mad.
Yeah, and hopefully we can gain a few more clubs over the next couple of weeks as well, just before the season actually gets properly up and running, and we can.
Yeah, and I was going to ask you that question in terms of clubs before the season up and running. It is easily done between now and then. There's no two ways about it. But do you have any strengths in particular in certain parts of the country, for example? Is there anywhere that you've picked up clubs and you've gone, wow, we've got a real nice sort of hub of clubs there because maybe one mate's talked to another mate?
It's a bit of an interesting one. So the Southwest is really quite strong, specifically for cricket. And then you go up to Lancashire and you get exactly the same. Obviously, I imagine the size of Lancashire is probably why it's sort of flashes up a lot. But I would say the one that sticks out the most, and when we speak to clubs, because we're obviously based over in Cheltenham, so we do kind of see clubs quite a bit from there, and it does tend to be word of mouth from around there, to be honest. And it's good to see. You also learn that through the forums. So when you see people communicating with each other, you can sort of see what club they are, and it's really quite interesting. But yeah, I would say the Southwest has been best at word of mouth, and then up in Lancashire is quite a stronghold as well.
That's brilliant. So let's bring this to a close and say the very obvious thing. If anyone's got any questions, A, they can come to us because we might know the answer anyway. But B, where do they go to?
So if clubs can go online to our website on spond.com, and you can literally book onto a demo. You can get hold of us straight away, and on them demos we'll take clubs through step by step on how it all looks, what it will look like to their members, the journey their members will go on, and then if they have any questions, we are here every day of the week, just trying to answer as much as possible, bring as many clubs on, and trying to make that journey as streamlined as possible, while inevitably volunteers are living their day-to-day life.
Yeah, most definitely. And what we'll do over the next few weeks is we'll also put those links to the demos onto our website, so that people, if want to book, they can book directly. Just make it really nice and easy, because just click in, one click, you can go to where to book a demo, and that makes life easy, doesn't it?
Yeah, spot on. That's literally as simple as it is. And hopefully we can see quite a few cricket clubs over the next couple of weeks joining us as well.
Yeah, and as a genuine offer to any one of our listeners and any one of our followers, if you've got a question, you know where to find me. And we have lived the experience. Favorite phrase that's used out there now, lived experience. Where we have been through 3 different apps, and I think Spond is our 4th. It might even be. It's definitely our 3rd or 4th. It might even be our 5th. It's nice. That long since we've been using them, and it's that long since we just had WhatsApp groups. So we have that lived experience of how to use these things. And I'd say to anybody, you've got 2 ways to go about it. Take it nice and steady the way we did, and that was with experience, or just go all in and away you go, because it's going to make your life easier. That's the main thing, isn't it, Will?
Yeah, 100%. And that, as I said, and that's our main thing, you just emphasise it with everyone as much as possible, is our end goal is just to make volunteers' lives as easy as possible, because we understand how difficult it is to organise with all different types of tech, money, safeguarding, comms across many different channels. And we're fully aware of that. And that's why we try and constantly develop Spond as an app to make people's lives as easy as possible.
Absolutely. That's the punchline. We're making volunteers' time as valuable and as easy as possible, isn't it?
Yeah, 100%. Yeah.
Thanks for joining us, Will.
Spot on. Thank you very much.
Cheers now.